Alright, so in this video I'm just going to go through the main components that are going to go on the motorcycle. First one here is a motor controller. In my case it's just a DC motor controller. And this is an Alltrax 7245, and that basically just means that it's a 72 volt nominal controller that can handle up to 450 amps peak. So basically what it does is it connects to your battery pack and it connects to your motor, and it regulates the speed of your motor based on your throttle input, and that's all it does. This huge thing, all it does is just control the speed of your motor. Next up is a contactor. It's basically just a switch on steroids. It's got a coil that you power, and when the coil is powered, this metal bar here pushes against these other contacts and it connects these two terminals. So in the event of something going wrong with the motorcycle or an emergency or something, you can just cut power to these low voltage, low current coil connections, and that will force this connection open via that spring in there, and it'll cut power, and it'll cut off power to the motor controller, and it'll stop the motorcycle. This here is a DC to DC converter. It just connects to your battery pack, and it converts the battery pack voltage down to a 12 volt accessory voltage. So it's just so you can power things like your lights, your turn signals, and well, things like the contactor here need 12 volts ish. So yeah, it's just powers all the accessories on the bike because there's no alternator. Next up is the motor. This was the original motor that I had on the motorcycle. It's a big advanced DC series wound motor, and the reason why they call it a series wound motor is because there's a whole bunch of wires in this part of the motor here called the field, and then there's a whole bunch more coils of wire in the armature that spins around there, and what you do is you wire them in series, so that's why it's called a series wound motor. So yeah, when you wire this thing up, you jumper, so let's say like you jumper these two terminals here, and your positive and negative input to the motor is here. So power would flow into this terminal, it'd flow through the armature, which is why it's labeled A. It'd flow through the armature, out the other terminal of the armature, into one terminal of the field, it'd flow through the field, and then it would flow out the other terminal of the field, and that's it. That's why they call it a series wound motor. It's just those two, the armature and the field there, are wired in series. So this motor is it's a great motor. It's really durable and it's well built, but it weighs about 50 pounds, and it's not the most efficient thing in the world. So that's the reason why I got this motor. This is the new motor that's going to go into the bike, and it's 10 pounds lighter, and it's more efficient too. So it can actually handle just a bit more power than this motor, even though it's lighter. It's just because it's more efficient. And the construction of this motor is it's a permanent magnet motor, so it's got permanent magnets around the outside here for the field. So instead of like a bunch of wires for the field, it's just got permanent magnets. And then the inside for the armature, it's the exact same thing. It's just got coils of wire in there and brushes. And this motor here has just these massive brushes. It's got 4 of these, and this motor here has 8 smaller brushes. So it's a bit different, but you know, it's pretty well doing the same thing. So yeah, one thing I'm gonna have to change for the new motor is this old mounting plate. This was for the original motor, and it just bolts onto the front, the end that you can't see here. It just bolts onto this face here, and see you got 4 mounting bolt holes there. So there we got the 4 bolt holes there, those 4, and then the big hole in the center for the little flange here. But this one is a bit different. The four big bolts here are actually the exact same pattern, so this plate can bolt on directly onto this motor. But I really want to utilize these extra bolt holes here to make it extra strong, so I'm going to be drilling some more holes. But the thing is, this plate actually won't work anymore because the mount needs to be changed a little bit, just because of the mounting configuration I want to do. I want to make it smaller so I leave more room for other things on the bike. So yeah, this that mounting plate won't quite work anymore, so I'm gonna have to make another one, but it's all good. I already have like something to go off of, so the new one should be pretty darn easy to make. Then next up is the batteries on the bike. You obviously need something to power the motor and the motor controller and everything. I'm not going to be using obviously a motorcycle accessory battery, but yeah, I'm going to be using high performance lithium ions. But this is just the battery I'm actually going to use to spin this motor up in the next video, so I'll post that right after this video. So, and I'll use those big massive 0 gauge cables over there to hook this thing up and see what she does. And yeah, that's about it. I'll spin the motor up in the next video here and go from there.